Hello and welcome to Tavern Chat, the vid chat, the podcast. Today, we're going to start with a follow-up on me talking about criticals and fumbles. All right, I told you I don't play with them, I don't use them. They hurt the PCs more, but there's an interesting opinion or take on it from Chad, and I'll let Chad carry the conversation for a bit, and I'll interject, and then we'll see where this goes, because he might have something. I'm not saying he does, but he might.
Hey there, Eric. This is Chad. Just a comment with regard to your last cast about not liking fumbles and crits. You yourself said that the heroes are larger than life.
And they are. I mean, they are meant to be larger than life, which is why when I have players roll up new PCs, I have the unofficial rule that your overall stat adjustment has to be positive, right? If you're average, you're not adventuring, right? You got to be a little bit above average to go out there and make your place in the world. So, yeah, if you've got maybe you like your character who has 117 and 1/6 and everything else, no bonuses. Maybe you see a visual way in your head. This can work out fine for me. That's great. I'm not saying you can't use that character. I'm just saying I don't force people to roll with characters that are less than just a tad above average. That's just me.
And so forth. And the monsters typically are mooks.
The monsters are mooks, and it's interesting where Chad's going to take this. So maybe I'll shut up for a little bit.
Now, OSR doesn't have mook rules per se. So,
and what are mooks, by the way? For those that, again, mooks are throwaway monsters. So one and done. They fall with one or two hits. Goblins, kobolds, stuff like that. Those are your mooks. It can be at higher levels. It could be ogres. It could be your mooks, right? They're not made to be a real issue to the party. Again, this is it's interesting where Chad is going with this.
So, allowing crits would make them larger than the mooks. Yeah.
And where Chad is going with this is allowing criticals for the player characters, but not for the mooks, the monsters. But there's more. There's more.
With more impact. And then the fumbles would be like a balance, I guess, to keep the crits from being too overpowering, what have you. Now, I don't like some of the old school fumbles. They got ridiculous. You could tone down the crits, too. I mean, they don't have to be overpowering.
And I don't think that crits should be overpowering. I think crits should be limited to double damage or roll your damage twice. I don't think they should be anything slowing down movement or beheading. Now, you might say, all right, well, roll your damage. All right, well, you went up doing D8 times 2. Well, you rolled an 8. It's 16 plus your strength and specialization bonus. 20 points of damage to that 4 hit point goblin. Well, you whacked its head off. That's fine. That is adding a little imagery to the situation. It's not going to affect gameplay. The goblin was dead in either case.
My thought is, it makes the heroes more heroic. Anyway, that's my thought. Thank you. Enjoy the podcast.
But Chad's not actually done because there's a point he wanted to follow up on, and I think it's good.
Hello, Eric. This is Chad again. I realized I forgot something in trying to keep my message under a minute. The whole point of my saying, it being like the OSR equivalent of Mook rules is that you would not allow the monsters to get crits or have them get fumbles either. As you said, they're disposable. They're one-shots.
And this is where I am going to take, again, Chad made a very good point, but I'm going to take this a step further. There are monsters that aren't mooks, right? NPC adversaries that final battle where your players are facing off against the Goblin Chieftain and the Witch Doctor, and or they're fighting the dragon, right? These aren't mooks. These are not necessarily explosive. This is the climatic part. So this, if you're gonna say, all right, criticals and fumbles only apply to the heroes, then you have to, in my opinion, carry that over to the point where you got to say, when a party is fighting creatures that aren't meant to be disposable, that are an integral part of the adventure, an integral part of the campaign, then they are anti-heroes or whatever. They're no longer mooks. They get critical hits, right? Think about it. That would be interesting. It kind of is like taking the fighter's ability in AD&D to strike creatures with less than one hit die once per level, right? So that's that wading into 0 level men-at-arms in a battle and wiping down 10 as you go for the big baddie, But yes, you can cleave your way through the regular soldiers, but when you get to the enemy warlord, right, the anti-paladin, well, now all gloves are off. Right now, you're in that situation. You're going to be like, all right, this is where it's real. This is where leather hits the road. This is where shit hits the fan. And this is where now I'm at the risk of getting crits. I think that could balance it. I could actually go along with that.
So it would be a heroes only sort of thing. Anyway, that was the point. Thanks again. And I'll be listening.
And exactly. Heroes only thing. But not all heroes are good, right? So it has to be, in my opinion, if you're going to run with that, and for me, that's the only way it would work. But you have to remember, too, it does change the balance of the game. And nobody's saying these games are balanced. But now, suddenly, your PCs are getting through combat quicker than they were before because they can roll crits, but your opponents don't. However, you fought your way through the dungeon. Now you come to the big climax. Now it really does matter. Right now, you're at that point. You could take a critical. Oh my God, the hill giant, right? The hill giants are probably not going to be mooks. They're going to be significant. At least, if the party's 6th level, you're fighting 2 hill giants. You know what? Hill giants, they're doing double damage. I think hill giants did 2d8, right? So now 2d8 times 2, potentially 32 points of damage in a single blow. Holy shit, right? You got to make sure you're not just whistling Dixie and playing off, it becomes more real. I think there can be something to that. And this VR virtual green screen is somehow not liking my blue shirt, even though it's a green screen. I gotta lean in a little bit so it doesn't wipe out parts of my flesh. Folks, side note, tomorrow, I believe that Bad Mike and I, Talking Crit, 8 p.m. Eastern, live stream, Jeff Talanian, a Sonic Machine swordsman, a sorcerer, a Hyperborea. So it should be a very good conversation. It's the first of our North Texas RPG Con 2021 series of special guests. And just to throw this tidbit out there, not related to any of this stuff, Zak Smith says that next month he's going to give the behind-the-screens reveal as to what happened with Vampire 5e, which he was involved with until he was pretty much unpersoned and attacked. And now apparently the 15... Now it's come full circle, and all 15 attackers have been exposed as to who and what they are, which I find interesting. I saw the list. I will spend some time, probably as we get closer to Zach releasing this stuff, going over some of the people on the list. Some of the people on the list are people that have, back in the G Plus days, were people that were trying to attack yours truly. Not that I don't you know, I can handle myself. As can Zach. I mean, listen, if you're going to attack Zach Smith, I think having a group of 15 is probably the safest way to do it. But in the end, I guess he still gets his comeuppance. Yeah. Do I like Zach? No. But do I find it amusing that many of the people that had problems with Zach didn't like me and didn't like the fact that I would not take sides in this culture war of ours, and therefore tried to, I guess, try to remove any of the undue influence the tavern has. So there is some schadenfreude in watching them. What's the phrase? Go tits up. Then suffer under the heel of their own abuse. I don't know. There is some kind of joy in that. So I'll when Zach covers it, I will certainly cover it here because it will be interesting. I'd love to hear the inside story. Folks, we're still in the midst of the world of the pandemic. They are now changing some of the CDC guidelines when it comes to masking up outdoors. Listen, I'm not a medical professional. I am not giving advice. All I am saying is use your common sense to keep yourself healthy. Without you being healthy, you can't help others. You can't keep others healthy. So you have to keep yourself healthy and then worry about others. Be safe, be well. God bless. Roll those dice. Knock on wood. I know some people get tap knocking on the wood. Fuck it. I like knocking on the wood. It's been lucky for me so far. Torchlight's going to its editor. Torchlight number 1 is going to its editor probably sometime later today. Aiming for first week of May, if we can do it, to get that out. So I thank everybody for the support. I hugely thank Jeff Jones. Jeff is huge when it comes to Torchlight. Glenn Hallstrom, huge, does a cover art. Glenn will be my co-host this Friday night at 8 p.m. on Dungeons, Dragons, and Discourse. And Michael Gross, who does our editing. Again, huge influences, huge supporters, huge parts of the tavern in general. So, again, thank you all. Folks, I am out of here. God bless. Laters.